level. Because, and I've talked about this a little bit last week, and it really hit home because I was talking to Justin in a pop up, and we were talking about, just trading as a whole and how we have all these little morsels of information that makes sense. We listen to me talk or KT talk, and we're like, that makes sense. I can apply that. I'm going to be successful this week. I went back, I back test the theory. It makes sense. I've got the setup that works out, and I'm spinning my damn tires. That frustration level starts to kick in. And I was having a long talk with Justin about, because Justin is probably one of the most technically sound members we have in the Discord. He could be an analyst on most discords I've ever experienced. And he's spinning his tires, felt a little bit frustrated, had to take a step back, those kind of things, and really dig into his. And you know what he said to me? One of the first sentences he said to me, and a lot of you heard this on voice, he said, I stripped everything off my charts. I'm going back to basics, and I understand that. I talk about this quite a bit, but I think it's really important to talk about is that self-realizing prophecy, what that statement means as a whole, and how we are our own worst enemies in trading. Sometimes we'll hit the second level, all that stuff. I'm going to do a second level live class as well. I want to do second level in real time when the order book is active, not when the markets are closed. But I really wanted to hit on this, and I hit on it for a few minutes the other day, but I wanted to just kind of talk about this in general, and pivoting back to week 1 of Skills Lab 1, where we talk about understanding, even if it's not Enneagram, understanding yourself as a whole and how that plays into your success in the market. All right. I posted something in the chat in the Discord today, and it showed the top 20 or 10 traders, the most successful traders. Now, it's a little different because this was a prop firm list. But what I loved about that list is it showed the win rates, okay? And I'm going to slide this over so you can see this, because it's that important. And so many people beat themselves up about how they need to be perfect traders. All right. And how it's about, look at these batting averages. All right. The top trader made $566,000 in the first part of 2025. This is not commissions. This is trades taken. And he has a batting average of 35%. He is only winning 1 out of every 3 trades he has taken. Okay. Yeah, we've got an 83 in here, 66, 71, but at least half, if not 16.2%. Now that I would never suggest, of course, but what is it? Who's it say in the chat first? How are they successful with these percents, these batting averages per se? How are they successful? Exactly, Joshua. Are your risk reward? If your risk reward is ass backwards, you will, and I say this all the time, and I know it makes you guys crazy, and I get on you for taking bad setups. I get on you guys for panic selling trades at 12% up. And there's a time and a place for selling at 12% up. Of course, if a trade's going sideways, that type of shit, of course, selling for 12% makes sense. But the overall of your trades, okay, the overall of your trades is not, and I'm going to tell you one thing. You need to go back to the drawing board if you're only winning 35% of your trades. Something's up with your analysis as a whole. Something's up there. You're not seeing something right. But if you're only winning 35% of your trades and you're green, holy shit, the sky is the limit. It's not the technical part. Like, people will say, oh, trading's 90% psychological, 10% technical. No, that's not true. That's not true. It's 90% technical, 10% psychological. But that 10% psychological is what gives everybody the most pain. The most pain. As human beings, usually the biggest trigger of change is pain. We don't like changing things in our lives when it feels good. We feel triggered to change things in our lives when it doesn't feel good. My blood pressure's fucked up. I've been getting crazy headaches. Am I still eating sugar? Yup. Have I had enough pain yet? You could apply that into your trading as well. You really, really can. So when I see people, quote unquote, rewarded for bad trading, eventually it does catch up to you. And usually the people I see taking the most risk, making the most money, and getting rewarded, quote unquote, for that 20% of our trades I call the asshole factor. I say 1 in 5 trades, we're going to be human beings, take a bad trade. That's accounted into my formula for stacking probabilities. I have a 20% buffer of making stupid ass decisions because we're human beings. We're going to. But when we're rewarded for that bad behavior in trading, the pain's going to be even greater when it does catch up to us. And that's why I am so hardcore where it's like almost borderline bitch in the chat sometimes. And I'm not doing that as like an ego stroke or to make anyone feel minimized, like that in some way, shape, or form. I'm trying to make you feel less than. No, that's not it. I'm hoping your pain threshold hits quicker with less money lost. Everybody loses first. Everybody. If you don't lose first, you're lucky as fuck. And your 50-50 red black is hitting red every time you bet. All right. So Friday, I pop back on the Discord, and some of the people that need to hear this aren't here, and that's okay. You guys deserve to hear it because you are here. I pop on the Discord Friday, like 1:00 in the afternoon. KT's hasn't really updated anything. E-Trades hasn't really updated anything. I haven't really updated anything. And I'm just scrolling through the chat. All right. I'm scrolling through the entire chat in the Discord. It was literally, and I'm watching people implode because they took bad trades. They held it too long. These type of things. They knew their levels. They didn't follow them. I felt like I stepped into a fucking casino with two sides rooting with your real money. Like sitting there, like you're at the fucking roulette table, and half is rooting black and half is rooting red. And you all got money on the line. Your hard-earned money, man. And you're sitting there rooting for something that was shit. That was shit. Okay? Because let's pull up the SPY here. And let's look at Friday. Here's the 5-minute on the SPY Friday. Right here. And this is where we were on the chart, right here, while everybody's doing this. What's the top of that range for that hour? 589. What's the bottom of that range? 587.50. So we're in a 1.5 point range. Okay? Because this happened before the fallout. This was good trading. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about after we live streamed, after KT and me both said it's shit trading and those type of things. And I literally caught up on half the Discord inputs, the other half in calls. And it was almost like a game of chicken. And it made me sad in a way because you're not going to be here in a year. And if you are, you're going to be down a whole lot of money if you continue to bet in that way. And yes, I say we have the 20% asshole factor. We have the 20%. We're, in there and making bad trades once in a while. And like, I respect Arsenic. Arsenic's like, I bought this to scratch an itch. It's only a $20 contract. He understands until he gets to the point where he can keep a lid on that impulsiveness. He's at least minimizing the risk around it. Not that what he's doing is right. It's wrong. But he has learned enough about himself that that's a way he can circumvent hard losses. Because it starts to feel sometimes, guys, like you're trading just to trade because it's fun. It's like picking up your controller and playing Grand Theft Auto 6 in a few months, or playing your football game, or playing whatever it might be. It's like you have that enjoyment, and you must. If you're psychopath enough in your head to day trade every day of the week with your money and deal with that stress, you love the adrenaline, you love the charts, you love to chart, you love all these type of things. And it's okay. That's all okay. But when I see it starting to borderline on people imploding, because a few imploded that day. And we've got one like, oh, you know, I knew it. I knew we were going short. And the second I flipped long, we went short. And then the other one's like, why didn't I sell? I had my put entry. Like, why are you in calls if you already have a put entry set up? Like those type of things. So it's just tough for me, because everything else I talk about a fucking second level does not matter if you can't even master the easiest parts of trading. If the part of trading for me is this is the easy part, I'm going to have enough trouble having the balls to hold on to my puts on clear rejection all the way down and getting a capture rate of 60-70% plus on that trade. That's going to be hard enough. Why am I risking all my money in shit setup just because I feel like I have to trade? Because somewhere in my mind, we have this impermanence. As human beings, we struggle about impermanence as a whole idea in the sky of permanence and impermanence, and it's so big for us because we're staring at these 1-minute candles and these 5-minute candles, whereas our partner, our spouse, our parent, our best friend, they've got these 401ks and they don't look at them for months at a time, and they're okay because eventually, no matter what, the stock market in any company worth a damn always moves like that. But we are so hyper focused on 1-minute fucking candles that we are risking money in horrible, horrible shit setups. And Friday, I saw the depths of that. I felt like I entered a casino. And I was kind of brutal in the comments. And I had a long talk with one wonderful member. She's amazing. I talked to her Friday. She said KT called her last weekend as well. Very, very aware. She's very aware of what she did, what she's doing, this and that. And that brute honesty, man, checking that ego is so important. Arsenic's not in here, but Arsenic, like raging ego, and he's trying to check it a little bit. And I think his growth because of that is going to be substantial. Justin stays humble in his trading. So while Justin might have struggled a couple weeks ago, he reined it back in. He literally said, I stripped down all my charts to nothing. I'm starting over because this isn't working. What I'm doing isn't working. And if it's not the psychological part, it's going to be something else. Like, the saying, keep it simple, stupid. Keep it fucking simple. It's not that complicated. Second level, like, I feel the need to talk about this. So yes, we could go over to second level a little, but I'm doing a class Wednesday or next Wednesday about second level. I really wanted to kind of have a gut level check-in with you guys today, because I could drone on about second level right now, but I think it's so important, guys, to get back to those basics in trading, because we are in a market that is brutal and takes no prisoners, spares nobody. You get used to it. I talked about this a lot. If we put on the SPY Daily, I talked a lot about not getting used to this, because it was like, this volatility range was so abnormal, and it was historic, and it was record breaking, and we can't expect that kind of move. And how the people who on a candle like this said a few days later, oh, I knew I should have held my Boeing swing because I see it would have worked out. But you know what? 99.9% of the time, that wouldn't have worked out. Every single call and every single put works out when we have historic volatility on our hands. So when I saw people starting to creep back into that trade would have worked out. Talking about a SPY day where we moved, what was it, 10, 11, 12% one day on the SPY? Like $250 million bullish SPY day, unheard of. Absolutely unheard of. So, it's just really critical to get back to that place of not feeling this impermanence that's not real. Like, I'm gonna die tomorrow, and I gotta make all this money tomorrow, and I gotta be rich tomorrow, and I want to quit my job tomorrow, and I lost $26,000 this year. I gotta make it back. If that's the first sentence you're thinking of trading, you are going to fail. You have stuck a fucking chain around your neck with an anchor to it that is constantly going to weigh every single decision you make in your trading. You have to trade every single day like you're at a 0 point, the 0 axis. You have to get back to center. You have to get back to center. And if you don't feel like you're centered, you don't trade that day. If we don't do that, we're going to be in problems. Holy shit. J-Pow's going to resign tomorrow? Sorry, I got to turn off the chat because it's distracting me now.
I don't
That's
know.
massive.
I mean, I highly doubt it, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that's
I
the
just gotta say,
source,
in Amy's teaching, she has more passion in 4 seconds than some of our other speakers have had in an entire hour, and it's really frustrating to me because to me it's really easy to be passionate about like what we're doing and have
Yeah.
energy and all that. And it's like you're saying from the chat, I flat out don't take the midday lottos or whatever you want to call it, because when you start to analyze your trades or you're frustrated, right? Because you're losing, you're like, hey, where am I losing? And they were all from those times. And when I looked at SPY, they were from what you first showed on your chart, with that range, orb, like Justin talks about orb a lot and stuff. And it just does nothing for my ego and nothing for my account to take a single contract and have it go minus 80%, have it go plus 80 or whatever. It's like I'm making $40 or I'm losing $36, let's say, for what? And then I go out to lunch and I've posted in the chat, hey, I just made enough money to cover my sandwich. And I post a picture of my sandwich. And at the same time, though, I'm like, I just lost twice my sandwich. I lost, let's say, $40, right? And I'm just like, how many times am I going to do that? And for what damn purpose? I would rather help traders. I would rather set up for power hour with my levels. We're even playing Wordle. We're, Justin, I see Justin in the chat here. Justin is cleaning up his boat for the weekend, like anything but trading, because if you can set those trend lines up in like TradingView and wait for triggers, go look. Just because the alert goes off doesn't mean you have to trade. Wait for those candle bodies to go. Wait for, like I said in the very get-go, confirmation. The candle body, is it closing? And that being said, for me to trade in those windows when, Amy's done with her live trading and it's still not power hour, it has to be like the best setup ever, like a falling wedge all day or something like that. I'm not just like, for what reason?
Oh, for sure. And that's exactly it. And like I get it. If trading is enjoyable to you and you're hanging out in the chat, and we love that, keeping the chat active, like having some fun in there, that's one thing. But I watched it start to tip into a way where people were getting hurt taking these trades and like these two sides rooting against each other, this and that, when all you had to do was just be patient. How many times over the last few live trading sessions, go back, use me as the example. How many times in the last few live trading sessions have you seen me the first half hour kind of force it? We might get 20%, 25%, this or that. Or I say, I'm not taking anything. This is all shit. And we wait. And like after the first half hour, after the first 35 minutes, we have a really strong move that we absolutely crush. Like we've seen that a lot. Spy Friday was that. We played this entire way up on Friday. Those type of things. Because if you are patient with something like this, we get the clean trades eventually anyway, because we can clearly see on this, man, once we got that, of course it was news based, but either way, we still, even with the news base, we still had the perfect setup. We lost the low, we retested, and we dipped, and the volume started ripping with the dip. We still had time to get in, even if you lost the first couple candles. You get the retest, you get in. But this right here, with 0 DTEs, how are you holding through this shit? You can't. You can't. If you took puts here, all right, say you took puts here. By the time we're here, you were underwater probably at least 40, 50%. And then you're in the chat flexing like, I made 200%. I made 500%. You know what you just did? You're going to lose 10 times that when it doesn't break your way because you're taking horrific trades. A lot of people took the trade in this area here, and that's fantastic. Anything in here, totally condone the trade. Love the trade. Fantastic. Glad it worked out. But anyone that was in this shit, holding it all through all this right here, we're going to revert back to what I was talking about in the beginning. You're getting rewarded for bad trading habits. And this, say you made 5K here today. Next time, you're going to put that whole 5K in because you're going to expect the same result, especially new traders, and you're going to lose it all. Plus some, because then next trade you're going to chase even harder, and it's just a cycle of addiction. It's like drug addiction. It's a cycle of addiction, and you can't stop, and you're constantly chasing the next hit. That's what day trading turns into when it starts to become that hyper focused, right and wrong, rooting for a side.
You're right on with the next hit thing. That is so it, because when like I said, in the middle of the day, get that 80%, or I caught bottom 120, and it's a little money, right? I'm taking a $40, $50 contract, sometimes less, $80 or more maybe, and they hit, and I'm like, I feel like a genius, and then the next one gets destroyed in one candle. And I'm like, you have to, in your trading journal, at least I do, I will write that was luck. I'll literally write the word luck because it's not repeatable. Yep. I wasn't going to go big for a reason. There's a few things here. If you're not willing to go big on a setup because the confidence level isn't there, you need to really assess, should you be taking that trade anyway?
Absolutely. And that's exactly it right there. We have to be hyper vigilant and hyper aware of, am I trading this just to trade? Am I trading this because it's a great setup? And from the hours of 11 Eastern, so 90 minutes after the market opens, until 3 Eastern, that 4-hour stretch, you got 2.5 prime hours, maybe 3. The first 90 minutes, the last 90 minutes. Anything in the middle better be A+ setups. And there's this higher low here. We start to push up. Very nice setup there. The original dump, the retest right here, that's a great setup. We got the retest, we got the conviction, we got the dump. Those are fantastic setups, that kind of stuff. The break back over this area here, even if you miss the whole push up the first hour right here, when we break previous low a day, this major bounce, we retested, there's another great setup. The setups are there, but for me, my suggestion is in those middle of the day, hours focusing on whatever chart is hot and not moving with the market, whatever it might be. Like I told you guys how I kind of deviated when we got that uncertainty in the market. Instead of going into my discretionaries I normally would lean into, I actually started leaning into the most volatile stocks and the hot stocks because I felt those were the ones that could actually run on merit. As crazy as it might sound, that's why I leaned into our Hims and our Weeble and our those stocks like that, because I actually felt like that was safer than being at the mercy of Tesla, Nvidia, all these stocks that were very much sentiment based day in and day out. I don't like swinging sentiment based shit. I want to swing the setups. So that caused me to lean into something very opposite of what you would expect in the tumultuous market we had. I know you guys understand why I did that with the tariffs. We've talked about that. That's not really the point of the matter. Just leaning into what makes sense in the time is very critical, because we do end up in this cycle. Like, when I talk about like the impermanence and the hurried feeling we get, and remembering, like I talked about way back here, for us, that 1 minute seems so substantial, but for 99% of people making money in the market, it goes up and it goes right. Not always, 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 always. For good companies, that is. So take a step back. Look at some stuff in the afternoon, in that middle of the day area. Staring at a 1 minute SPY chart is so counterproductive. I can't stress it enough. Like, especially on Friday. What I really noticed Friday is the main traders weren't in at all. E-Trades wasn't really talking at all. He caught a setup after the fact when he got confirmation. KT and I, we weren't really in there at all. We weren't talking. If we're quiet, it's not because we're off doing other things. It's because the setups suck. It's cutting it down to A+ only setups, is going to save you so much pain of that, of the entire thing. So, talking about that to me was super critical, because it's the hardest part of trading. It's the most serious part of trading. It's the part of trading that could take you out if you continually do that. The pain causes the change. We get the pain, take the motivation from that pain to make a conscious change, and I pivot back to Justin. We were talking on that pop-up in the afternoon that time, how he said he stripped down everything. He's kind of reevaluating what he wants to really dig into, focus on this, that, the other, because there is no magical indicator. There is no magical anything. I like the strat. I love candle formation setups. I love volume setups. I love my fibs. I have all these certain things I love. And the ones I pick is because I'm a math person. I'm a numbers person. So I use the strategies that are math, where I can put 2 + 2 = 3, whereas some of you might be EMA person. So here's the 9, the 9, and you like the 9 on the 15 minute, and you stick to, no matter what, you want to see the tap of the 9, the break in the tap of the 9, and then you're taking, or the 21, whatever your EMA is that you're using, the 13, and it works for you. Like, that's a tangible thing that works for you. Or it's always going to be bull flags and bear flags. Whatever it might be, whatever works for you, and you stick with it. Because when we start to bring multiple strategies into play, we never really figure out what works for us. Because if there was one strategy that worked for everything, the whole world would be doing it. So, in the Boeing call, you know what? In the Boeing call thing too, I kind of went hard at that guy, but because we need to be transparent here. If I'm in a swing that was a lotto and it went down, because that trade he was in, he went down like 70%, 75%. And just be honest about it. How many times have KT or I been, when do I say day trade? I'm like, I consider that a losing trade. Because for anyone following my trades, it's really tough to get 25% following my trades on a 0 DT. Or a lotto where it was down 50%. I'll be like, we got bailed out. I played that like an asshole, and I got rewarded for it. Like the ego The ego is going to destroy people. And, that's really the biggest thing I just wanted to kind of touch base about with you guys specifically that are in here. And I appreciate you guys being in here because it's always going to be what we kind of, pivot back to in trading in general. And how is pre-market how is futures right now? I'm curious. Can someone check futures? I think it just opened. Because I am curious with this J-Pow. I feel like J-Pow is news negative. Any uncertainty with the Fed usually is nasty.
Yeah, someone said in the chat that should make the market go up, right? And I said, I mean, I've never had the Fed chair resign since I've been trading.
Like
So
in general, I don't know. I'm gonna look right now. Let me pull up futures. Oh,
he's so damn rich. I don't know why he would want to deal with Trump. We're red less than 0.5% here, 0.35.
okay. Yeah, but that is a negative reaction in my opinion. That's what I would expect.
Oh yeah. Tesla's down 1%. It's been weaker though. But SPY is, I would say, flat 0.20.
Because one thing I've talked about a lot with you guys is usually the market reacts very negatively to any sort of uncertainty coming from the base of the Fed. Whether it's them waning on a decision, backtracking on something they said a month earlier, that's usually negative reaction stuff. J-Pow resigning is scary in a way, and I know I'm anti-Trump, but like he was not a yes man to Trump, so it is scary if we do end up with a yes man there, because I think we do need some sort of checks and balances in our economy as a whole. But I'm gonna hand it over to KT. He's got his full lesson. I just really wanted to hit that. We will do second level class either this Wednesday or next. It's going to be during market hours because I want to use real-time data when we do it and the Greeks and show you guys. So you're getting a bonus hour with that. I just wanted to kind of do a